An alarm rips you out of sleep. It's still dark, and your whole body is begging you not to get up. You go to a job, give it your best hours, and come home with just enough left to scroll until you pass out. Then you do it again, 5 days a week for about 40 years. Over a lifetime, that's roughly 90,000 hours of work, a third of your waking life. And under all of it sits a feeling you can't shake, that this isn't what you were built for. Here's the strange part. You're right. For about 300,000 years, humans had no jobs, no bosses, no wages, no alarms. So what did people actually do all day for 99% of human history? By the end of this video, you'll never see your work week the same way again. Start with what we can actually measure. In the 1960s, an anthropologist tracked a group in the Kalahari still living by hunting and gathering. He counted the hours they spent getting food. The number stunned everyone. About 15 to 20 hours a week. That was it, 2 or 3 days of work, and the rest of the week was theirs. And it wasn't a fluke. The same pattern showed up everywhere anthropologists looked. Different continents, different deserts and forests, the same answer. Around half the hours you work now. But these are modern people. How do we know ancient humans lived the same way? The answer is written in their bones. Compare hunter-gatherer skeletons to the farmers who came later. And the difference is brutal. Farmers were shorter. Their teeth rotted. Their spines were ground down by endless repetitive labor. The hunters were taller, stronger, with better teeth and far less damage to their joints. Their bodies tell one story. They were doing less grinding work, not more. Then there's the evidence that shouldn't exist if life was a constant fight to survive. Art, deep in caves by firelight, animals painted with shading and movement, in real skill. Someone spent hours in the dark painting a wall, not for food, for beauty. In one cave, shell beads 100,000 years old, the nearest shore a full day's walk away. Someone made that trip just to collect shells to wear. In another, a flute carved from bone, its holes spaced for real music. None of this keeps you alive. You only make these things when you have one thing: time. And our ancestors had it in a way almost no modern person ever will. So walk through a real day. You wake with the sun, no alarm, last night's fire still smokes. Breakfast is leftovers, and it's social. People talk and drift into the day with no schedule. Maybe a few leave to hunt, but not every day. If there's food, you simply don't go. And the hunt is nothing like the movies. Humans are persistence hunters. We don't sprint. We jog after an animal for hours in the heat until it overheats and drops. By early afternoon, the work of the day is basically done. And what comes next is the part modern people can barely understand. People rest. They sit in the shade, talk, play with their kids, nap. They make things by hand just because making things well is part of being human. One study found these groups spend around 6 hours a day simply being together. Not working, not sleeping, just talking, laughing, belonging. Because with no money and no police, your life depends on the people around you. So you pour your time into them. That isn't wasted time. That's the point of being alive. Then the sun sets and the fire becomes the center of the world. By day, talk is practical. Who saw tracks where? Who isn't sharing fairly? But at night it changes. Most of the talk turns into stories, myths, ancestors, jokes. The first gods and spirits, told in the dark with a full belly. This is where culture was born. Around a fire, after the work was already done. They didn't even sleep like you. They slept in two halves. A first sleep, an hour or two awake in the quiet dark. Then a second sleep. So when you wake at 3 a.m. and panic, that's not broken. That's ancient. Then about 10,000 years ago, it all changed. We learned to farm. And farming is a trap. More food means more people. More people means you need even more food. Within a few generations, there was no going back. You were locked to the field. Farmers worked harder, ate worse, and died younger than the hunters before them. But the crowds kept growing. And crowds need specialists. Toolmakers, soldiers, priests, bosses. And at the end of that road is a strange new idea. That your time belongs to someone else. So here's the part that matters. The part about you. You spend 90,000 hours working and call waking at 3 a.m. a disorder. You chase wealth and status by rules someone else wrote and feel guilty when you rest. They woke up already free, already enough, with nothing to prove to anyone. You make art if you find time after work. They made art because the time was already theirs. You are not lazy and you are not broken. You're a hunter-gatherer inside a machine you never agreed to. The exhaustion isn't weakness. It's the gap between the life you have and the one you were built for. You can't go back to the savannah, but you can take some of it back. Guard your hours, feed your people, make something with your hands, rest without apology. Because for 300,000 years, that was simply called being human. What would you do with a 15-hour work week? Tell me in the comments and subscribe. Here we look at the modern world and discover who we really are.